This is the Sic Em Podcast. The Sic Em Podcast is a production of Baylor Athletics. Now, here are your hosts, Brooke Bednarz and the voice of the Bears, John Morris.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's Sic Em Podcast, a production of Baylor Athletics. We're glad you're with us. John Morris, Brooke Bednarz, and Brooke, our guest this week is, I use this term a lot, but it is absolutely factual. One of Baylor's all-time greats, former Baylor quarterback Cody Carlson is with us. Cody, welcome to you.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here.
A great, a legend, a Hall of Famer.
Oh, my
How you like
goodness.
that?
Yeah, you don't.
Hall of Famer.
I'm embarrassed a little bit, but no, it's it's great to be here and to be around the campus. You know, we moved to Waco about 4 years ago, and to kind of get back in relationships with the university, and to be able to watch the different changes that have happened in the last 4 years have been really exciting. I just love the university and it being more accessible to us now.
Where were you before, and what made you guys decide to move
So
back?
In Austin, Texas for 23 years. And
That's such a bad week.
This week.
Yeah,
that's great.
Good thing you're here now.
Well, yeah, I tell you what. And I have friends that have asked me for my football tickets, for about 3 weeks now. And I said, no, go get your own. I have no loyalty to you. So
yeah.
That's great. It's great to have you and Barbara and your family here in Waco. How do you like being closer, just more accessible to Baylor and Baylor athletic events?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, there is so much in the way of process and improvement in Baylor sports and in different sports than when I was here, and it's just to be able to have that access and to be in a town to where you can actually get there as well. Now the construction is changing,
Right.
Waco's changing obviously, and the construction is, as anyone has found out, if they waited too long to get here on game day, it's complicated. And, I think in the end it's going to be great changes, but it is, it's just a beautiful setting to be down here on campus, to have all the facilities on campus, which was a lot different when I was in school.
Sure.
And it's so great because he gets to fill in for the tailgate show
Oh,
whenever we
I appreciate it every once in a while.
whenever
when
we
Seth,
needed somebody.
Yeah, boy, I that was fun, but I appreciate y'all's professionalism as well. It's not easy to keep talking about all the different elements of and y'all pay great attention to it. And I'm just a casual fan now, so I can.
You do great. Jay Jeffrey did want me to let you know, though, that you were the second choice behind him, okay? So I've delivered that message from
He was
Jay.
my first choice as well.
You know Jay,
funny.
so
There
you
was a
understand
lot-
that.
There was a lot of phone calls I had where they were back and forth like, are you sure you want me to do this? I was like, come on, I need somebody. Let's get with these quarterbacks.
We appreciate that, Cody, very much. Played here 1983 to 1986. Really good stretch of years there that you were a part of. When you think back on it, does it seem like it's been that long since you were here playing?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a different life in some ways.
Right.
And then at the same time, I still remember every one of my teammates. And that was the beauty of it. And that's the beauty of sport, I think, as well. And in a day and age to where we elevate it maybe to something that it's not, we can see the real positive still about, the camaraderie, the teammates, the diversity, understanding experiences that we didn't grow up, experiencing. And those guys, I mean, we had great leadership, as they do today in all of our sports. I mean, it's, fantastic to look at and to know a little bit about the coaches and the leadership and what they're trying to do with the teams and the players. And we had that as well. So that, I mean, just fun memories.
To talk about those memories and talk about how special those relationships were, fortunately, Baylor has the B Association, which you know very well about. We'll get into that. But just tell us a little bit about your role with the B Association and how that has helped foster and keep those relationships alive for all of you and your teammates, even after graduation.
Yeah. So, this year I have the honor of being the president of the B Association, which only means, I mean, it's that you can delegate to the really smart people to do the work. And we have great committees. We have great representation across all sports. And so that's really exciting, and all ages as well. I mean, there's some of us, old heads, and then there's some people with bright new ideas that are engaged with social media and that say, in order to connect with student-athlete alumni early on, you have to be able to utilize those, technology as well. And so that's been really infusing new ideas into the processes. But in the end, we are about engagement. We're about engaging with our student-athlete alumni to be able to serve them, whether it be through events and reconnect them to programs, to engage with our current student-athletes for mentorship and kind of giving them a perspective of what's next. And so, those really, I mean, if it's all around engagement, it's a changing landscape. And so we have to be somewhat fluid as well. At the same time, we get to really honor, what the B Association has been. And it was a lot of hard work and some really tough days and through some tough years that the B Association existed to be able to develop those relationships. And we want to honor that, and we want to honor, the excellence in our programs. And so we get the opportunity every year, except for last year, to be able to do that in a special event, which is our Hall of Fame banquet. So
we want to talk about that in this year's banquet, which comes up on Friday night, October 29th.
We're jumping to Christmas.
Get your shopping done?
Yeah, no, not even started. But while we've got you here, I want to reminisce a little bit, okay? We just played BYU. You played against BYU that unbelievable game, 1983, September 10th, 1983. Right. What do you remember about that game?
Yeah, I remember watching Steve Young and just marveling at his ability, truly. He just was running all over the field and was most of their offense. They had a great team. I do remember how hot it was, and I remember Coach Taft before the game going out. This was to intimidate BYU and frying an egg on the turf in a skillet.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now I think that was pre-cooked in some ways, but at least the footage looked like he was frying it. Yeah, but they truly, I mean, the heat was on our side.
Yeah.
I remember that was my first start, and I don't remember if I started or if Tom Mickey did, but we alternated every other
That's the story.
play.
That's part of the story.
Yeah. Yeah, what, that I can't remember?
No. No, that was the birth of the quarterback shuttle between you and Tom Mickey.
Yeah, and it started off with every play, and it was brilliant on Coach Taft's part and Cotton Davidson and Duke Christian, who to say, listen, we want to be able to consult with them on the sideline before every play to make sure that they're looking at the right indicators, and so that really helped relieve some of the pressure. And we had a very well balanced team as well, and so it wasn't dependent upon us as inexperienced young quarterbacks to go out there and carry the load. And so we ended up, in the end, that helped us. I think just that balance helped us win the game.
But how tough was that? Every play. I mean, it eventually
I was in great shape. That was the last time I was in great shape. I was running them plays.
But it was so unique, right? Wasn't it, to shuttle you guys every play the way it started?
Oh, sure. And even then, I mean, it had been tried a little bit before, but not in the same way. Not every play. But there were. I remember Florida State had a couple of quarterbacks that Bobby Bowden at the time, wanted them to be able to play, and also to be able to kind of coach them up when they were in between, series, but not every play. And then ours lasted for 3 years, and that was kind of unheard of, and it was criticized at first. Tom and I both probably felt like we were the person who deserved the job at first, but we were good friends, and as we just kind of bought into the team aspect of it, and kind of cheering for one another, it was kind of almost a plug and play. It didn't matter which one of us was in there.
Yeah, that's one thing I remember is that you guys made it work. You and Tom, God rest his soul, he passed away a few years ago, but you guys, had the right mentality to make that work.
Tom was a great guy. He really was. And I think, I was a little bit edgier coming in, and Grant was brilliant. He made us sweet mates. So we couldn't get away from each other.
That's great.
So we're going to have to, get along.
You guys got to figure it out.
Yeah, no, but Tom, I mean, what a wonderful man, and father. And it was, I remember Tom, a lot. And it was just, it was that he was a good person, and we were coached to be men of integrity and people that had character, and that people considered the team first. And that was something that was kind of permeated our teams of those years.
John, it's pretty cool to hear those exact phrases still being used. Yeah. That's pretty much sums up what Be Uncommon is for Coach Aranda's program right now.
Yeah, I had the privilege of listening to the game on the radio. I wasn't able to attend the game, and so I got to hear y'all, and then I got to hear the segment on, character. Mm-hmm. And that was just wonderful. And you can tell those players are not just, it's not just a rote, we're rehearsing this. It really means something. It means something similar, but in a different way, depending upon their perspective. But I love that he's coaching that, and that he's surrounded his team with that culture. And we see that again across multiple sports here at Baylor, which is really good. And sometimes it's hard to remember that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have to fight real hard to achieve that and to have that mentality. And they've struggled, they've struggled last year, and to be able to hold on to that, we're building something different. It's not just about the scoreboard. And that's really neat to see.
Yeah. One thing I was able to conduct those interviews, and just to hear, they're very basic questions. What does it mean to be a man of integrity? What does it mean to have class? How do you win with character? But to ask those same questions, and we interviewed several of the guys on the team. Unfortunately, you guys only are able to see just a few of the sound bites that get chosen, but just to hear those different answers, and how you said they're similar to where you can see that they, are being taught the same thing, but then how it affects their life and how they're taking it in was super special. And we actually had a student worker in there with us that was like, they know this stuff.
Wow.
Like this is neat, and for him to even pick up on that was pretty special.
Yeah.
So it's neat to hear that you as a listener are picking it up, and then it's also neat, in my opinion, to get to see that being displayed on the field, and when they do walk around and do the bear walk and stuff like that.
That's right. Yeah, I am absolutely impressed with the way they comport themselves. I mean, just a team that is very, they're good sportsmen. They're, disciplined, and, that doesn't just show up in penalties. I mean, a lot of people look at that as a disciplined approach. And they, but the way that they handle themselves and the way that they relate to one another, and even the opposition means that they really own that, right? Mm-hmm. They personalize that. And so that's the way it should be. Mm.
And you really had, during your time at Baylor as a student athlete, you really had some good leaders, mentors, coaches in that area with Coach Taff and with Cotton Davidson, didn't you?
Right. Yeah, they were, they were wonderful. They were very, very kind men. And I mean, Coach Aranda, the personalities, everyone has a unique personality. Yeah. And I don't think that I've ever been around a coach or even listened to a coach that is like Coach Aranda. Coach Rule was wonderful in his own way, but it was, on opposite end of the spectrum as far as personality. Uh-huh. But Coach Aranda is just such a teacher and an educator, and he surrounds himself with staff that also, they know that is long term, right? If you can teach someone to really understand it, really understand why they're doing it, then that's going to have long term effects. And so, yeah, we had similar kind of that methodology of the coaches. It's relational. It is not transactional. And it pays off in the end, of just developing young men that understand one another, that understand somewhat of the world, that understand what's required beyond the game.
Cody Carlson, our guest, former Baylor standout quarterback, and fun to reminisce about those years. So 83, Cody's freshman year that he played, you redshirted in 82, I think.
That's correct.
Out of San Antonio Churchill, and then 83 ended up in the Bluebonnet Bowl, so good season there. And then fast forward a little bit, 85 ended up in the Liberty Bowl, win over LSU, was a tremendous way to end that season. Right. And then 86, I guess would have been your last game, was the Bluebonnet Bowl win over Colorado.
That's true.
Yeah.
It was in 86, Tom did not redshirt his freshman year. And so we split time for 3 years, and then 86 was the year that I, actually got a chance to kind of be the starting quarterback and full-time quarterback. And, all of those years were great. I think I remember 85 as a year where, it was probably a special year, and it was maybe, 85, 86, we had teams that could have beaten anyone we played. We didn't win them all. But in 85, we, really the season culminated with a big win over a known brand, LSU, in the Liberty Bowl. But we had beat USC previous to that when they were number 3 ranked team in the nation, and beat them on the road, which I still remember the signs, as wearing the HELL is Baylor University, and it was like
you're like, let us show you.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. And it was we had just really solid teams. 85, 86, particularly our defense. Were Thomas Everett and Ray Berry and Steve Grumbine and many more that I don't want to leave anyone out, so I'm going to stop right here.
Yeah.
But they were tremendous. Ron Francis is a guy who started on the offensive side of the ball, and he was a wonderful running back. And then when they had a need on the defensive side of the ball, then they put him over there, and he was just absolutely a shutdown corner. And it was just really, we felt secure even if we were on the sidelines, that we were going to get the ball back and be able to do something with it and be in any game. And you see that with Baylor this year. Mm-hmm. Right there, Oklahoma State is a tough team. When you're playing in Stillwater, it's, one mistake, 2 mistakes, it will be the difference in the game. But Baylor, they didn't start off good, but they came back and they kept plugging away, and they were in the game, and they've been in every single game. Now, it'll be really interesting this week as well, because it's a much different. Texas has a much different team than Oklahoma State, but Baylor understands and really has controlled a lot of the games that they've been in, which gives you a chance in the end.
I was going to say, Brooke, before we move off of reminiscing,
yes,
Cody, you need to educate young Brooke Bednarz
yes.
about the Action Singers.
Oh, she doesn't know? Surely she knows.
Sure, yeah. Maybe
if she's into classic rock,
not
then
classic
she
rock.
Actually, yeah. So
you know how I was reminded about this? Jay Kelly, who has the new boot place, City Ranch Boot here in Waco.
Right.
So part of the decoration on his wall, he's got his jersey framed. Jay Kelly was a tight end, played with Cody.
Okay.
But one picture he's got on the wall is your group, the Action Singers.
Okay, so
I need
that
to
is
hear
true.
this.
Yes, you do.
I need to hear this.
And Jay is an amazing friend, and has an amazing story that I won't be able to go into today. But him coming to Baylor and just the change of his life, which was just dramatic and wonderful. And it's great to have him in Waco now, and he's doing well in his boot business. And but I've tried to forget some things from some I just forget
it's not
naturally,
going away.
and some that I have to keep answering these things. But so basically, it was what was great is a group of guys that all were in a Sunday school class together.
Okay.
And our mentor was a former Olympic trial wrestler.
Wow.
He was a athlete. We could relate to him, and he thought a good way for us to build camaraderie and even to share our faith was to develop this singing group. And so we had a couple of guys that were very talented. I mean, they were really good singers, and Scott Works, Todd Hawkins on the baseball team, and Zona Jones, who was on the football team as well. And so really the truth is they turned everyone else's mics way, 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 way down, and those 3 guys really sang. And Jay might tell you that, every once in a while they let him come in with his bass voice. for effect. But the rest of the time we were all muted.
What
so
a great
where
memory.
were we singing? Where were
So we would
singing?
sing at various places. I mean,
okay.
we literally traveled to small towns all over the state.
Churches mostly.
Wow,
And churches,
that's neat.
yeah. And that actually survived just that group. David Wetzel, who is Coach
Really?
David Wetzel, who is a tremendous guitar player and vocalist,
Right.
was a part of the, I think a more talented version.
The reincarnation of
Yeah,
the
they started actually recruiting after that for talent.
Well, that's a fun part of your story.
That's so neat.
Yeah, it's fun
Action
for you.
singers. It is.
It was fun. We had a really good time with it.
We just asked you to reminisce. You don't have to sing for us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We could push that issue, couldn't we?
Oh, no.
Oh my goodness. Well, we have a big weekend coming up this weekend. We've talked about the Texas game. That's at 11 a.m. A little plug here for the tailgate show with John and I at 9 a.m.
Get up early.
9 a.m.
Get up early.
Yeah,
right.
drink your coffee with us out at tailgate.
Yeah.
But before that, on Friday night is something special that you both will be a part of. Kind of walk us through the significance of the Hall of Fame banquet, and especially this year. There's a couple of different unique aspects with remembering last year's class, and then this year's class is one of its own.
Right. So, 2020, of course, was the year that wasn't in a lot of ways. Now, there were a lot of things that I think certainly are positive that came out of that, right? And our understanding about a changing world and in our understanding about as the B Association being able to stay connected even during a time when no one was coming to events. And the way that we did that, it was through the leadership of Mike Johnson, was we increased our newsletter to include devotionals more regularly. And so we had individuals from, that are in the ministry or that are Christian leaders that would write different devotions and send them in, and so we were able to broadcast those. But some of the things that we weren't able to do, of course, was attend games, and we weren't able to have our Hall of Fame banquet for the first time in 60-plus years. When I say the 60-plus years of inductees. And so, we missed that. We really did. It did give us an opportunity, though, for this year to basically give everyone a red shirt last year, right?
Very fitting
term.
for all you athletes.
Yeah, and to say, we're going to induct the 2020 class in 2021, and then we're going to add something that I think is very, very relevant today and very poignant, is a class of basketball players that really were a part of Scott Drew's first recruiting classes, or let's say his foundation is what he calls them, and to be able to honor the journey, right? I mean, that it's started off with, as everyone knows, a scandal that was just horrible, but it really speaks to kind of redemption in some ways that I think are really important for us to understand, both for the university but also the individuals and the commitments of those players to a program that Scott was building. And it was out of his belief in them. It was out of his belief in where they were going. And so we have an opportunity to induct a class of individuals, or a unit, as you put earlier, that is the first time that we've done such a thing during the Hall of Fame banquet. We also have a chance to recognize our honor team, which is the acro and tumbling and the 6 national championships that Coach Fee Mulkey has led, and to really celebrate excellence. And so, God, we're really excited about this class, and it is, JMO is the key to this. This thing's either going to go till 1 a.m.
Oh my gosh!
How fast
Don't
can you
put that
talk?
on me. Do not
Don't
put that
give up
on
the
me.
mic.
That would be one part.
Just hold it for them.
It's going to
Yeah.
be great. But,
No,
the
it
thing
will
is,
be.
everybody there has such a great story to tell, and
yeah.
you want to give them their opportunity to speak.
Yeah.
The only thing is, there's a lot of people to get in, and you try to keep it, I mean, we got a tailgate show at 9 a.m. the next day.
Right.
So
that's right.
We got to make that work.
Jaybo's got to get a nap in.
It's going to be a fun night, though.
Oh, it will be. Yeah, we have we have some really special people that were, across, most every sport. And so we're really excited to give them their time and to honor them and their families or whoever come to support them, but also for the community as well, which, just in the last 5 or so years, we've made that kind of available to the community. And we can look forward to even bigger and kind of different events, holding on to the tradition and certainly the individual excellence, but also, making this something that the community is more involved in and the university is more involved in. And so, we're really, this is going to be a special night.
Let's remind everyone the class of 2020 for the Baylor Athletics Hall of Fame, and then the Wall of Honor also. It's Linka Brusova from women's tennis, Lars Porschke from men's tennis, Brett Reagan from softball, Todd Cooper from track and field, volleyball All-American Anna Breifogel, and then from Baylor football, Jason Smith, Brad Gable, and Andrew Mellentree. So that's a great class. You add to that Dr. Michael Addis, who has been selected for the Baylor Athletics Wall of Honor. Mm-hmm. So that is a great class. That's a banquet in itself right
that's
there.
Right. And was going to be.
And would have been last year, except for COVID. But add on top of that, as Cody was saying, the foundation, this group of 5 guys that were part of Coach Drew's first 2 recruiting classes, they will go in as a group. Aaron Bruce, Mamadou Gien, Henry Dugat, Kevin Rogers, and Curtis Gerals. They'll go in as a group. Now, Curtis is already in the Athletic Hall of Fame,
right.
But he'll go in as a part of this group as well. So that's the night coming up on Friday night.
Yeah, it's exciting. I think, and I trust that they're very excited about it as well. And they've had a year and a half to plan their schedule to be able to get here. So.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's super neat. You said it was the first time you've done that, but just to have that foundational class, and especially to build off of, I think in the spring, everyone felt the excitement, felt the joy. That's a word we all use. From that Final Four, from that national championship victory over Gonzaga. And so just to continue to build off of that and to help Coach Drew continue to celebrate that foundation, because he did a number of wonderful things. He had those T-shirts that he mailed to all of them with literally all of their names in the word family, and then invited them all back for the parade to say, like, hey, this is part of you are part of this national championship as well. I just think that that's really neat that you guys are taking the time to kind of follow his lead and to celebrate and do something that you guys have never done before either. Yeah.
And I mean, to be able to honor just the philosophy that he has. And as you said, I mean, every one of those individuals meant something to this program. And so for them to be able to share in that glory as well, in a way, is fantastic. And so, I mean, he's been a great leader for a number of years and has been off the radar just because we've never had a team. I mean, and how hard is it to win a national championship in any competitive? I mean, just it's a something that hopefully it's going to be a regular thing, but not necessarily. But for this moment, to be able to really honor that full process and his commitment, but also the commitment of all of those players, that not just this class that is going to be inducted, even though they were the beginning of it, it's all of the players that were a part of that. And yeah, it's really special and unique. And I look for opportunities for the university and for the B Association to really look at those special circumstances where this is aligned with the mission of the university. It's aligned with the way that we want to engage relationally in the university and to represent the university on the field of play or the court of play.
Well done. I mean, great choice to do this, to mix the class from 2020 and then the foundation, the group for 2021. Very well thought out and very deserving, I think, for all these people.
Well, you're thanking me, but this is a lot of people that, and it wasn't my idea.
Yeah.
But Walter Abercrombie has just been a tremendous leader. As executive director of the B Association for is it 12 years? I think it's 12 years, and I might not be giving him enough credit. It might be a little bit more than that. 13.
I think it's
maybe.
longer than that.
Yeah. And Walter's a friend. He was a friend when I was in the league and going to unfriendly spaces. I would always look forward to playing Pittsburgh or Philadelphia where he played and seeing him after the game.
Nice.
And we didn't know each other that, really just, I think, through reputation before that. But there's something which was really beautiful about, also being here at Baylor and under a kind of philosophy of life is that you really appreciate your brother. And, it doesn't matter, as far as, across race, and brothers and sisters across race and gender and the commonality that we had. And then also just the friendliness of after the game, we are friends, right? And we have a connection there. And so it's been an honor for me to work alongside of Walter here, and just kind of to support in whatever small way, what he's been doing for a long time. And he's obviously a very respected leader on this campus and very important.
Well, and it's that spirit of, like you mentioned, meeting after the game that you guys have carried into the B Association, to where all of the different athletes of all the different years are able to come together and to reminisce and to share in that. So.
Yeah, and we don't see eye to eye on everything.
Yeah.
Right, but the respect and the different perspective is really, the sum of all parts is just created something that I think that it started long ago, but is just continued to be, I think, representative and increase in its opportunities to engage with student athletes and to be able to add value to athletics and the university as well.
And letter winners know this, but I'm not sure the general public or how much the general public really knows this, but that B Association room at McLean Stadium is spectacular. Mm-hmm. It is first class in every way.
It really is. And through the generosity of our members, the campaign was started to fundraise to be able to have a dedicated room that is certainly on game days particularly, that is dedicated to our student athlete alumni across all sports. And then is also, fortunately utilized by the university because it is a really special space that gives credence to the legacy of Baylor, good, bad, indifferent. It all those years is that this is kind of the mark of community and something different and something that Baylor is certainly proud of. And so it is it's a great space. On a hot day, it's probably not big enough because everybody's looking for air conditioning.
Everybody wants to be in there.
That's right. But it is, it's really a neat place.
Well, we look forward to the banquet coming up on Friday night. Again, it is Friday, October 29th, if you're listening to this this week. And the group will be recognized at the game on Saturday, the Baylor-Texas game on Saturday. And I mentioned the group going in, the electees to the Hall of Fame. And you mentioned earlier the honor team this year is acrobatics and tumbling with Felicia Mulkey. So what a great, very deserving move that is to recognize that team that is absolutely the best in the country. So it's going to be a fun night Friday, a fun day Saturday, Baylor and Texas. We'll leave Texas leaving the Big 12 for another podcast.
Yeah.
We've already forgotten it.
Turning the page.
Turn the page.
That's right. What?
But we do appreciate you being with us today, and thanks for your steady hand of leadership with the B Association, with Walter and Tammy and everyone there. And it's great to have you with us this week.
Thank you. It was an honor to be here. I look forward to this weekend. And, even if we don't get enough sleep, we're going to still be all right.
It's going to be fun.
There you go.
Thanks for being with us. That's this week's Sic Em Podcast, a presentation of Baylor Athletics. For Brooke Bednarz and our guest, Cody Carlson, I'm John Morris. We'll see you next time with another edition of the Sic Em Podcast.
You've been listening to the Sic Em Podcast. The Sic Em Podcast has been a production of Baylor Athletics.